Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel where I just I'm going to talk about all things spiritual, metaphysical, anything like that. So, and how it sort of shows up in my life and any kind of meaning that I can find from it. So this is how I'm going to look because I've decided that whenever things pop in my mind, I'm just going to pop on here and make a video about it. So it is how it is. So I'm going to start off with this figure that appeared to me in a visualization, and I didn't realize at the time that it was an actual person. He was putting on like a black panther fur skin, head and all, and turns out when I googled that, it's a person called Tezcatlipoca, an Aztec god. So I found this sticker of him that I got. So there he is. He's holding an obsidian mirror, and I know he looks very dark and abiding. So I'm just going to read to you all the information I found on him. So it turns out that he was a prominent and central deity in Aztec religion, and his name was Smoking Mirror. He was known as Smoking Mirror. He's associated with the night sky, hurricanes, obsidian, sorcery, and conflict. All of that doesn't sound that great. A creator who participated in the creation of the world from a monster's body, but also a trickster who brought destruction, acting as a patron to rulers and warriors, but also a punisher of wrongdoers. So, yeah, I was a little bit freaked out when this guy showed up in my dreams or my vision. That's why I'm talking, because I'm trying to figure out what the message is in here. There was a quote that I found that said, for him, it's, "The path you see is an illusion. The real journey happens where you cannot see your feet." And it's interesting because he actually lost a foot in battle, apparently. So, okay, I'm going to continue reading. Names: Smoking Mirror in Nahalti. I don't know how to pronounce that. His symbol was the obsidian mirror. The sacred animal, of course, is the jaguar, the black jaguar. It's a symbol of his association with the night and his shape-shifting abilities. The domains are night sky, hurricane, sorcery, strife, war, fate, and royalty. His appearance is he has a black stripe across his face, symbolizing his connection to the night and to jaguar. He's a creator and a destroyer. He brings good fortune as well as calamity. Insight to truth, and he rids illusions, sort of like the dark night of the soul and being reborn. He exposes what's hidden so that you can grow, a symbol of transformation. And I thought this was really powerful. It says about like darkness has wisdom. That's just so mean. We don't sometimes know that, or in the moment we certainly don't feel that. But I think our deepest, most profound realizations and epiphanies come from the darkness that we're facing and going through. Symbolism and meaning, it says, emerges as the archetype of radical uncertainty and unpredictable nature of fate. He is the cosmic gambler, the divine trickster who reminds us that our carefully constructed plans are built on shifting ground. So it just makes you think, you can do all the planning you want in the world, and sometimes life just throws you stuff out of the blue. You can plan, but only to some degree. He's the cosmic gambler, the divine trickster who reminds us that our carefully constructed plans are built on shifting ground to court the beautiful, terrifying notion that chaos is a creative force. Sometimes we don't see it that way, or I don't see it that way. it feels more like a destructive force, but sometimes that's where we're forced to be creative. So it says not merely a destructive one. So I thought that was really a great way of seeing chaos in a different light. He represents the voice that whispers during a crisis. This is not the end, but a transfiguration. He is the patron saint of the sudden plot twist, which is funny that I just wrote a chapter in a book called Plot Twist. So yeah, there's that. The unexpected inheritance, the ruin that clears the way for a palace. So if you're into tarot at all, there's the Tower card that feels very destructive, and it can be frightening if the Tower card in your reading comes up. But it's such a beautiful thing because you can't create something new if you're holding on to something old. So you need the destructive force to crumble that so that you can then bring in the new and move on. Maybe rebuilding something better. His presence suggests a life that will not be linear or predictable, which, hi, welcome to Earth, but a labyrinth of trials, illusions, and revelations. His symbolism is rooted in paradox. He is both the tempter who leads humanity into ruin and the arbitrator who presides over the resulting judgment. His sorcerer, master of illusion, yet his smoking mirror reveals the deepest truth. This duality speaks in a sophisticated understanding of the self, one that acknowledges the necessity of the shadow. We all need our shadow sides. We all have a shadow side. So why not call it up, look at it, and use it? Tezcatlipoca's archetype may suggest that true wisdom isn't found by eliminating our darker impulses, but by understanding them, even harnessing them, which I never really thought before. I was like, oh gosh, that, that really dark side of me needs to keep hidden, or if it comes up, people won't like me or people won't accept me. But when it comes up, we can really then do something with it. And we could bring it out. It might be this really cool thing. Our minds play such crazy tricks on us. He is the force that pushes us to confront our own capacity for betrayal, for greatness, for self-deception, forcing a constant and often uncomfortable state of self-awareness. I don't know how many of you have had these moments of self-awareness that have been like super, wow, I just found out how awesome I am. Most times it's like the darkest parts of us that we become aware of. And we're like, whoa, that awareness of myself that I, sometimes not the nicest person, or I did something that I didn't like. Those are the ones that kind of stick with us. So it's just, the self-awareness of all those things are just important too, and we shouldn't hide them, no matter how icky they may make us feel or seem. Ultimately, Tezcatlipoca's meaning is about sovereignty, not that of a king that rules by decree, but that of one who masters the shifting tides of fortune. He is the power that comes from looking into the abyss and not flinching. He symbolizes the moment you realize that security is an illusion. I mean, there's no guarantees in this world. So why not face that? And that your only true power lies in your ability to adapt, to change masks, to dance with the unpredictability. So go with the flow. His presence in a personal mythos story is a sign that one's destiny is not to build a fortress against the world, but to become the storm itself. Why don't you become a power within this realm? Instead of letting the chaos control you, you control the chaos to some degree by going with the flow. The mirror. His relationship with the mirror is one of absolute unsettling identity. He may be the very consciousness that haunts its reflective depths. While a common mirror offers a simple reversal of self, Tezcatlipoca's mirror, the smoking obsidian, surface is a scrying glass for the soul's murkiest truths. It is a pool of captured night that does not show you your face as it is, but perhaps as it's truly seen by fate, or by your enemies, or by the part of yourself you refuse to claim. So I did find this really beautiful little obsidian mirror. And it's got fingerprints on it, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't know how to scry, maybe someday, but it's pretty neat. I never heard of a black mirror. Might as well face those uncomfortable sides. Okay, the relationship is symbolic. The mirror is the medium for an omnipresence, the dark portal through which he gazes. And he in turn is the unflinching intelligence that gives its reflection a terrible, transformative weight, suggesting that to look upon him is to be forced into the most profound and dangerous act of self-confrontation. He embodies the unnerving truth that the most significant turns in our lives are often precipitated not by careful planning, but by an encounter with the beautifully, horribly unpredictable, which makes life all that more interesting. I think it would be boring if we didn't have this. There's a little fly flying around and it's bugging me. Okay. Still doesn't make it feel good though. Sometimes when we're in it, it feels pretty horrible. So it's just, how can you be in something and be okay with it? Like, not okay with it, but like find a calm within it, you know, to find a way to get through it and learn something from it. And I guess that's maybe what I'm exploring. I'm in an uncomfortable spot, and how can I see this differently? You know, don't look at the mirror and just look at the surface. Maybe look at the dark mirror and go deeper. There's always something deeper. So the next part says the shadow, a disowned self. He is the force that compels a confrontation with the hidden beast, the secret shame, the repressed ambition. His smoking mirror becomes the ultimate therapeutic tool of exposure, refusing to flatter and instead projecting the very darkness one has tried to bury. This communication is not for comfort or gentle integration, but for a kind of violent, necessary alchemy. It makes me think of that picture that I have of, and you may have seen, Jesus with the thorns around the heart or whatever, and it's sort of like the only way inward and into the heart is sometimes through thorns. That's how we get to the heart of the matter, you know, or the heart of the issue, or the heart of ourselves. Is it can be very painful. And I feel like that's what Tezcatlipoca is about. And I have I'm drawn to everything sort of like South American culture type stuff. I'm trained in the Munaiki rites, which is from the Four Winds Society there in South America, and Alberto Vialdo. And maybe that's why the Aztec warrior came to me. I guess like I see Jesus as very like loving and kind and everything, and maybe this is the other side of that. You know, he's showing you, confront the pain, confront all those dark secrets, you know, in the mirror, the dark mirror, and because it's going to set you free. And sometimes you can't avoid it anyway in this world. So he seems to suggest that the true sovereignty is achieved not by defeating one's inner monster, but by finally having the courage to invite it to the table. So that's, you may have heard like people talk about their shadow selves, or the darker side of you, and just like, you know, and have it over for tea, you know, like you might as well have it in and start facing it, because life isn't going to get really any easier. And, you know, we're here to learn lessons. I do believe that. So I probably have a big lesson. No, I do have a big lesson. I'm working through it. So, okay. Tezcatlipoca's secrets revealed at the most inopportune moments. The tests of character disguised as random misfortune. That's true. You might find yourself interpreting your greatest failures as necessary sacrifices, like his missing foot, the price paid for a deeper wisdom or a more profound creation. So it makes me think of like my knee breaking. You know, it forced me to self-reflect multiple times, because I like to make things difficult and I take my time, I guess. So, and I feel like there's lots to learn. Let's face it, there's lots of layers and lots of things to uncover in this world and to learn about ourselves and others. So I feel like, you know, it was time to twist my knee and ponder all my life plot twists. And I don't want that to happen anymore. I don't think my knee could take anymore. But yeah, I really feel like it's an opportunity and I'm not going to waste it. Self-reflecting is good. Self-reflecting time. My personal history, or it says your personal history, is not a ladder, but a spiral staircase. So it's not that we're just given one direction up and that's the only way. It's a turning and spiraling and learning and growing around and round. And we inch closer each time or get higher each time. And I think that's the beauty. That's the beauty of it. One that often descends into darkness to find a hidden ascent. So you think you're going down, but you're really going up. That's pretty cool. An agent of change, often a disruptive one, because sometimes we just don't get it. If it's too easy, we're not going to get it. Sometimes we have to be hit hard. Speaking the uncomfortable truth. You are both the protagonist and the antagonist. Your life is a story. It's not about finding a safe harbor, but about navigating the open sea with the belief that the stars and the jaguars, so I guess this jaguar that he has, even though it's black, there's these dark spots on him, and they're referred to those as like the night stars. And they're spots that can only be visible in the deepest of night. If you follow any of the South American Alberto Villoldo as well in the Four Winds, the spirit of the West is jaguar, and it's often represented, or I've seen it as just like a black cat. Side note, Egypt also has these black cats, and I think it's Bastet, one of the goddesses. That's her persona. So I thought that was pretty neat, because that's one side of the, you know, it's over in the pyramids in Egypt, and yet there's similar folklore in South America Very similar. The multiplicity of the self, a collection of masks, roles, potentials, any brought forth depending on the situation. This is not necessarily a false or being inauthentic way of being, but a strategic one. My capacity for anger, deception, ruthlessness, not as shameful flaws, but as tools to be used with wisdom and discretion. There can be a profound sense of inner authority, the knowledge that you can contain multitudes and can still call upon whichever aspect is needed to survive or thrive. Sort of like fight or flight, I guess. Constant testing. You might constantly provoke yourself, creating difficult situations simply to test your own limits and resilience. Yes, we do that unconsciously. You may see your own reflection as a smoking mirror, never quite clear, always hinting at something hidden just beneath the surface. Self-knowledge is not a destination you arrive at, but a dynamic, ongoing process of revelation and concealment. Tezcatlipoca's given to sudden and unacceptable changes of mood and behavior, transformative, causing a marked change, omniscient, knows everything, provocative, causing annoyance, anger, or other strong reactions, especially deliberately, liminal, applying a position at or on both sides of a boundary or threshold relating to a transitional or initial stage of the process, unpredictable, adversarial, judicial, invisible. I guess these are just words that are associated with him. Sovereign, self-governance. Okay, and then strengths of Tezcatlipoca. Could be that you possess an almost supernatural resilience, betrayal, failure, and loss, which would shatter others, you may perceive as a mere plot twist in your epic story. There's the word plot twist again. Your strategic and psychological insight is unparalleled. You see the hidden motives, the structural weaknesses, and the secret levers of power in any situation. You have the ability to find opportunity in the midst of disaster. The weaknesses: tendency towards self-sabotage, check. Unconsciously creating crisis to feel the familiar thrill of survival and to prove your own resilience. Ouch, that one hurts. A deep-seated cynicism can prevent you from accepting simple kindness or stability. You are always looking for the hidden angle, the inevitable betrayal. Ew. Alienating others and allies and loved ones, leaving feelings of isolation even when you crave connection. So it seems to be like the weaker side of Tezcatlipoca would be self-sabotaging behaviors. Navigating career upheaval. Great, let's look at this. When faced with unexpected a layoff or a dead-end job, you don't seek a new position, but instigate a radical change. Embrace internal uncertainty, a sabbatical, use it as a sabbatical, a career pivot, new venture. I'm kind of doing that. It says to consult the smoking mirror to ask what is hidden. So maybe that's in scrying. Maybe I'll get to the point where I could be in meditation and try that. Asking, you know, what is being hidden? What am I not seeing? Okay. So it says here, a hidden ambition. This disruption made more space to see the loss of the title as a gain of freedom. So sometimes we identify ourselves by our careers, and so when we lose our careers, we don't know who we are anymore, you know, who am I? Because all of our identity was wrapped up in that. But there's a sense of freedom that comes from actually letting go of that, because we're more than just what we do. There's more to us, and there's a freedom that comes from knowing and understanding that. Confronting betrayal, become a mirror for their deception via radical, unnerving honesty. That is not me, but maybe I shall practice being gentle with my honesty, though. Examine your own complacency or blindness. See betrayal as a test that you were meant to face. A harsh lesson about the nature of trust and my own judgment. So, I don't know, to me this kind of feels like not really a betrayal. It's okay to trust people and put your faith in people, and because people are people and they're doing the best that they can. So I don't really see it as like a betrayal of any kind. We're just doing what we can, and we don't mean to, like, I don't think we consciously mean to hurt people. We're just, this world can be very overwhelming, and yeah, it's just about honoring that and trusting ourselves. Smoky mirror reveals what could be. So like truths and prophecies, hidden hearts of others, obscure and demanding interpretation, a tool for the seer, the strategist, the introspective soul. The missing foot could be meaning like the wound as a mark of power, sacrificing your foot to the monster. I think the monster's name is Ipactli? I don't know. Sacrifice for creation, imperfection as a source of strength. I like that part. Imperfection is a source of strength. Jaguar, the lord of the night, master of the dark forest of the psyche. It represents stealth, sudden action, and a power of both beautiful and terrifying. The spotted coat represents the starry night sky, a map of destiny and chaos worn as a skin. Again, the jaguar is like one of the most feared cats in the jungle. It has like no other higher predator above it. And so when I think of jaguar, I think of like walking this world with confidence. You see the body as the illusion, a mask. You see yourself as an outsider, never able to fully merge with a group. Shadow people. It's interesting because I was just talking to this group of ladies, and we were talking about like never quite feeling like we fit in, or never really feeling like we fit in, but we finally kind of found our people. So it's interesting that this would be like feeling like an outsider. Love. Maybe pushing people away to test their commitment, create a conflict, to see to test if the connection is real. All these games we play. It's either a deep bond or it creates loneliness. You view praise with suspicion, so you never can take like a compliment. I guess it's about your self-esteem, and you're sort of saying that your esteem is generated externally, I guess. So it's saying the reverse of that would be that knowing that your self-esteem is internal, from knowing that you survived something or a trial of your own making, and seeing a truth that everyone else missed. So that's just more introspection. The other deity that came at the same time that Tezcatlipoca did was Ra, or the Eye of Horus. And that is a protective energy. He's known for supernatural healing and assistance of the gods. He represents the ultimate power to see beyond the physical world, which is interesting that he showed up in my vision as well as Tezcatlipoca, who was, you know, seeing this shadow side of yourself, but Ra sees beyond that, beyond the physical world. Symbol of protection, healing, and rejuvenation. The eye of the falcon brings good fortune and wards off evil, a symbol of health and prosperity. Belief to protect and guide the deceased on their journey to the afterlife, and he became the god of Egypt. The eye is connected to the sun and the moon at a balance of light and dark. The right eye is your masculine, which is order, and your left eye is feminine, which is the creative side. And Ra is the deity associated with the sun, rebirth, creation of life, the eye of Ra, which is a fierce burning eye, the light of the divine wisdom. And that's represented in the temple in Edfu in Egypt, is called the Temple of Horus there. So it's interesting that I had both this dark deity and a light deity kind of come together, which I think is just the balance of duality here on Earth. So anyways, thanks for listening to me ramble on about that. I think he's a really cool Aztec guy, and he has a lot of really important things to say and a lot of things to learn from. And not, I guess, just the moral of the story is don't be afraid to look at yourself in the dark mirror, because sometimes there's a real beautiful thing that can be birthed from that. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next time.